Joining us right now, somebody that also feels that perhaps he has been a target politically in the past, former campaign chair for President Trump and author of Political Prisoner, Paul Manafort. Paul, thank you for joining us. First of all, since we're watching, I don't know if you know Peter Navarro, I assume you do. Any comments on what's going on with Peter?
Well, it's an abuse. I mean, the issue of contempt of Congress, again, Trump people are being prosecuted. People like Eric Holder never were prosecuted for contempt of Congress. And even if you thought that the case was legitimate, the manner in which the Department of Justice handled it is way out of bounds. I mean, they shackled him, leg irons and handcuffs on getting boarding an airplane when they could have just called his lawyer and he would have showed up. But they wanted the drama, just like they wanted the drama with me of invading my house with 15 armed FBI agents at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then threw me in a solitary confinement. It's that drama that impacts the public news, and that's what they're trying to do is to convict Navarro in a court of public opinion. They don't care about the legal issue.
Yeah, and Paul, taking your explanation a bit further, do you also think they're looking for the drama, so to speak, with the way that they raided Mar-a-Lago, chasing after these documents? Is that a continuation of all of this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's exactly what they did when they raided my house and when they raided Stone's as well. Again, there's a process. See, we're talking about documents that are in a box in a basement. There's a process that they could have followed. Merrick Garland said that they had exhausted any means of negotiating. That's not true at all. And if they thought there were other documents, there are many ways they could have secured going after the documents. They wanted the drama. I mean, and plus the historical precedent of going after the previous your political opponent and potential future opponent, and something like this is outrageous. I mean, to just keep apples to apples, even though it was treated differently, Hillary Clinton's server had classified top secret documents on it. And we know that server was hacked by the Russians, the Ukrainians, the Chinese, the Romanians. So that was national security. Donald Trump's documents were in a box in a basement, locked up. There's no way for them to have access by our enemies. So, I mean, it's all meant to be dramatic, and it's all meant to try and deflect from the Biden record, a terrible record on the economy, because we've got elections coming up in November.
There is the idea of having a special master presented for the former presidents, the documents that were there in Mar-a-Lago. What's your feeling on that? It certainly appears to a lot of folks that the Department of Justice is trying to circumvent that or obviate the need for it by saying we've already looked through and we don't need any help.
Yeah, look, the Washington office of the FBI is now getting exposed as being politically corrupt on a number of issues. And so they're now saying, this shouldn't even be in Washington. This Mar-a-Lago is in Florida. That's where this thing should have been dealt with. But it's the political office in Washington that's got jurisdiction. And to believe that they're treating it with a tank team, it's just not credible given the history of the FBI over the last 7 years, especially as it relates to Donald Trump. So a master, there's no damage with a master being appointed to look at the documents. He'll be impartial. He will have, fresh eyes, and he can make a non-political judgment on the documents. And even if the FBI says, well, they've gone through everything already, yeah, but maybe we don't. Maybe their view of what they went through and what was covered and not is not appropriate. Maybe it was wrong. I mean, they certainly have earned the right to be questioned, and so a master does nothing to damage the government's case if there's something there. And does everything to provide credibility to the process.
And Paul, going back to the specific documents, I mean, we still don't know all of the details about what was taken, but this picture was revealed today from the DOJ. Everything spread out on a floor. There you also see on the side, it's the picture frame of a Time magazine cover from 2020. That's the cover that we're seeing in that frame there. This almost looks like it was a staged photo. I mean, there used to be something on Instagram where people would do, I think they were called like lay downs or put downs, and would like perfectly stage a shot before they took it. What story do you think they're trying to tell with this picture?
This is, again, Department of Justice conviction in the court of public opinion first. I mean, look, those documents say top secret, but the president had the right to declassify all those documents while he was still president, and that means they still are declassified in his presence. So the fact that they've got top secret on it doesn't mean they're classified anymore. But you can't. But from the picture, it's meant to condemn by virtue of communicating a message without any understanding of what's behind the message.
How do we reach a point where the Department of Justice, the Attorney General, are not as connected to a president and an arm, as what it appears to many people, is kind of the political arm that does have some police power from a federal level? How do we keep that from happening in the future? I mean, there can be political pressure now. You can change who's in the White House. But should there be something substantive done to change that, to draw a line between them?
Yeah, we're going to have an impartial investigation of the corruption that's been exposed. You've got 20 whistleblowers now, current FBI people, who are complaining about what they see going on inside the FBI. And so the Congress is going to have to use its oversight authority to get into what's going on and to expose the ugliness, regardless of where the chips fall. This FBI office has lost its credibility. Chris Wray is got no credibility as an independent law enforcement officer anymore. I mean, all of his judgments seem to go one way. And if you're in the Trump world, they're against you. If you're in the Biden world, we don't want to even look at the laptop. And so we need to shine light on everything that's going on in Washington, and that's going to be the responsibility of the next Congress.
Brian Anderson said the other day that he should have, former president should have hidden all those documents on the Biden laptop.
Yes. That's a way to do it.
It was a good line.
Yeah, it was a good line. All right, Paul Manafort, author of Political Prisoner, we appreciate your being with us today.
It's good to be with you. Thank you very much.